Now, the last time I put like video ideas on my Instagram story, a lot of you asked if I can compare the luxury canvases that I do have. So I'm going to be looking at Goyard, Louis Vuitton and Ferré Lapage canvases and how they differentiate from each other, because who would have thought they're all bloody different, okay? So this video, educational. So you're welcome for starters. And secondly, you might be thinking, oh, I really like this style of, like this brand of bag and I want a canvas for this. And then you're like, oh, actually, after watching Connor's video, not gonna work. So as part of my luxury humanitarian duties, I present to you this video. Let's get into it. But firstly, if you are new here, my name is Connor and on my channel, I like to talk about all things luxury. So if that's something you're into, I'd love it if you could hit the subscribe button and the bell button down below so you're notified when I bring out new videos. And if you are returning, welcome back to my channel. So with these luxury brands, whilst they're all technically made of canvas, they're essentially layered with a coating on top of the canvas. So it's not like your old school Picasso painting on the actual canvas. It's like not really canvas, but they all have a different finish, which obviously depicts how they wear, what the bag's going to be better for. And in my opinion, from my experience using these bags, this is what I would kind of suggest for, you know, the different purposes. Now, I have one bag from Goyard, I've got 2 bags from Ferré Lapage, and then I've got like 3 or 4 Louis Vuitton canvas bags. So I've got like a general idea, okay? A bit intermediate experience with this, okay? No novices allowed. But I think when people are looking to purchase a Louis Vuitton Neverfull, for example, for that silhouette or that purpose of bag, there is definitely a luxury fork in the road where people are like, well, should I just stick with the old faithful Louis Vuitton Neverfull, or should I look at other brands like a St. Louis tote from Goyard? Because essentially they're the same silhouette and the same sort of like customer would be arguably looking at both options. So I'm going to give you some, you know, expertise on why I think one is better than the other. So let's go. Now we'll start with Louis Vuitton canvas. Obviously, you're going to find all the information under the sun on YouTube or online about Louis Vuitton canvas because it's probably the most popular luxury brand. Its canvas is very gritty. It's got a very grainy kind of texture to it. So whatever they coat this with when they cover the actual canvas, it's got a lot of grip to it. Like I would say it's probably more of an industrial feeling canvas. It's not a luxurious material. It's just canvas. It does the job. It's hard wearing. It's got some substance to it, and it's definitely something that can take some knocks. If I'm comparing it to other canvases, this would be the more practical option, but probably not the more luxurious option. Does that make sense? Next is the Ferré Lapage canvas, which is probably, in terms of coarseness or durability in the canvas, this would probably be a slight step below Louis Vuitton canvas because it's a little bit more smoother. It still does have texture to it, it still does have some grit, but it's got a little bit more of a light sheen to it, which whilst you kind of lose a tiny bit of durability, you get more of a vibrancy to the canvas. See how the color just pops a little bit more? So if I'm to compare the two canvases side by side, Louis Vuitton canvas is a lot more dull. So the more of a matte finish I get, you get more durability, whereas this has still a very similar kind of texture, but it's not as coarse. It's a little bit smoother, but then there's more sheen to the color, so the color pops a little bit more. But in terms of like, if I were to assign a number, with 10 being the most durable, I would probably say like this is 10 and then this is like an 8.5, like much of a muchness, but you're getting more of like a style or more of like a vibrancy of color from this canvas than like Louis Vuitton canvas. Does that make sense? And then next we have the Goyard canvas, which is a completely different feel and a completely different finish to Louis Vuitton and Ferré Lapage. Now, as you can see, it's a very vibrant, it's very bright, and there's sheen. You can see the light reflecting off it. This kind of canvas is the paint that they use, or whenever they do like the silk pressing of the color onto the bag, it's definitely a lot more glossy and it's got a lot more of a shine to it, which makes the canvas less durable because there's a lot more like paint or ink or whatever you would call it on top of it. So the the grittiness of the canvas that's underneath, there's so many more layers of paint on top of it that you lose that kind of gritty texture. So with Louis Vuitton, I would say that's a lot of grit. Then Ferré Lapage, it's like semi-grit, and then this has no grit. It's still canvas, like you can still tell underneath it that it is canvas, but it's a lot more processed and a lot more glossy, which the pros of that is the color really pops and it just looks a lot more appealing, but it's probably not as durable as the Louis Vuitton canvas, because the smoother it is, the more rubbing that you have against it, the paint will come off over time. But you kind of got to pick whether or not you're wanting the bag for X purpose that would really like depict what, you know, you want out of the bag ultimately. Now, when I look at this, a lot of people would say that Goyard canvas is a lot more plasticky, which I think plastic almost has like a negative connotation when you're talking about luxury stuff. My initial thought isn't plastic, but it kind of has the similar feeling to like a tarpaulin, like that, you know, plasticky stuff. But tarpaulin, I guess, is like weaved canvas with like plastic or nylon or whatever you'd call it on top of it. So I can see like how you'd get to that feeling. However, none of the other luxury canvases pop like the Goyard canvas. So you've really got to kind of be like, okay, well, do I want the color pop moment or do I want the durability moment? Now, when you're looking at a bag like the famous Louis Vuitton Neverfull, I would say that the majority of people who are purchasing a bag like this are mainly getting it for first, the functionality, secondly, the durability, and thirdly, the luxuriousness of the bag. Like, I don't think anyone's buying a Neverfull because it's the most soft to touch, it's the most aesthetically pleasing bag. You're mainly getting a luxury bag that ticks that luxury bag aspect, but it's still very practical and very durable. Like, the canvas on this is very strong and it is very thick and it is something that will last a long time. I got this bag primarily for the purpose of traveling. I borrowed Dale's Monogram GM Neverfull when I went to Paris the first time, and honestly could not fault that bag once. Everything I wanted it to do, it worked. I wasn't like finicky about it, like in terms of like, oh no, I don't want it to scratch, I don't want it to get damaged, blah, 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 blah. Then I picked up this one from a Facebook group for $1,000 bargain, and when I took it to Singapore, exact same thing. It did not miss a beat. Purpose ticks the box, durability ticks the box, all of that jazz, right? Now, if you're looking at purchasing like a Goyard St. Louis tote, I think whilst it'll tick like the luxurious, you know, luxury bag aspect, it's almost like a bit of a contradiction because that bag isn't going to hold up the same way as this bag would. Now, obviously this bag, the Goyard one, looks a lot more vibrant than the Louis Vuitton bag, but the trade-off is this canvas, the way it's been painted, the way it's been produced, it's not going to have the longevity that the Louis Vuitton canvas does. Now, I would probably say if you're looking to buy like St. Louis tote, it's not an everyday travel, you know, workhorse bag like the Louis Vuitton Neverfull is, just because the canvas is not structured enough and it's not gritty enough to withstand like lots of wear. Now, I would probably say that the Louis Vuitton Neverfull is like in the workhorse category, while the Goyard bags are more in like the lifestyle category. Like having a Goyard tote is something where you're doing the occasional errands on the weekend or going to meetings or something, and you're not going to put it in, you know, positions of like lots of wear. Whereas this bag, mate, chuck it down the stairs, throw it out the car, she'll be right. So I think that the Goyard brand is a lot more of like a, you know, leisure lifestyle kind of brand, when the Louis Vuitton canvas is more like practical, functional, durable. So I don't think they can really be compared, just because they're different brands. They have a different kind of purpose with the canvas. And I think that the Goyard canvas just is too precious, you know, it's too precious. Now, when it comes to the Ferré Lapage canvas, this one is the Daily Battle Tote Vertical. I think this is in the larger size. I can't remember if it's discontinued or not, but this is the 33 centimeter. I think they have a 30 centimeter. But this is in the, I think it's called Empire Green, which is like a very jewel toned emerald green color, which, not a color that I would pick a lot of things in, just because I don't wear stuff that goes with this color. However, I just fell in love with it. It's like Wizard of Oz emerald green, and I'm like no regrets about purchasing this bag at all. The canvas on this, I am incredibly impressed with it because there is still vibrancy in the color, but it's also gritty and durable. Now, you can probably see up close how it kind of is. Hopefully that's showing. But if you're looking for a canvas bag, which is, in my opinion, stylish, vibrant, but still practical in terms of durability, arguably, this brand is probably the least common of the two, but it's probably the best quality and ticks all the boxes. I have used this so much. This is my work bag. It has my massive work laptop in it, like my water bottle, all of my like work stuff in there. And my laptop is like one of those like Windows ones that your work gives you that are heavy. You're like, okay, we've moved on in the time, so why is my laptop 4 kilos and why do I have a knot in my shoulder? Like, it's one of those laptops, and this bag has just not missed a beat. I get so many compliments on this bag, like even just strangers in the lift, they're like, oh, I like your bag, and I'm looking down at theirs and I'm like, thank you. Just kidding. But yeah, it's just such a great canvas, and a lot of people who have seen my previous videos on Ferry Lepage who have gone and ultimately bought a tote, they've also the exact same thing. Like, it may not be the most popular brand, it may not be the most whatever, but it's the one that they reach for the most, which go figure. But this canvas, it's just more superior than Louis Vuitton because you get the vibrancy of the silk press, whatever, silk screening print. The colors are really fun. Like, they've got, my favorite obviously is the navy, this green, they have a burgundy if you're into burgundy, a few other colors, but they've just kept it plain and simple, so it's probably not a bag that's going to be, you know, very out there, but you know what you're getting. Their leather, which they put on the like accents and stuff like that, is very good quality. It's like a pebbled grain leather. Now, obviously the handles are what I would be picking up the most on the bag. My handles are in great condition. There's no glazing, like peeling off. There's no, just, I don't know, what happens to leather when you wear it? Normally the glazing goes, or it like peels or chips. It's just great quality, like worth the money. It's very affordable for what it is when you're comparing it to other stuff. So like, I would say like this probably is just the winner of the brands. That's just my opinion. But in summary, if you're looking to buy a completely, you know, durable workhorse bag that you know is going to be practical and stand the kind of test of time, I would go for like the Louis Vuitton canvas. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more stylish but still is durable and still has some vibrancy to the color, more so suited for like work and travel, I would go for Ferry Lepage. And if you're wanting a bag that is a little bit more stylish and a little bit more vibrant in the color choices or the kind of like that pop of color effect, but it's not for everyday wear, it's more of an occasional piece or something where you're using it for like running daily errands or doing a few little meetings with a few things stuffed in, but like not traveling, not heavy use, then I would go for Goyard. Who would have thought canvases are also different? This is just my experience from these canvases, feeling them in person. Obviously, there's a million different uses for a million different bags, but I think when it comes down to the whole Goyard versus Louis Vuitton, the Louis Vuitton canvas is a lot more high wearing, heavy duty versus the Goyard. It's just more of a lifestyle brand, where Louis Vuitton canvas is more as like a practical brand. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully this has provided you some sort of guidance. I don't even know if this is going to make sense because I'm just rambling at this point, but let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you could give this video the thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, I'd be greatly appreciated. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all very shortly in my next video.